I just want to start by introducing our leadership group. We'll have 8 players in it. Mitch Clark, Mark J. Maher, Colin Garland, Nathan Jones, Clint Bartram and James Frawley. We'll have co-captains, Jack Trengove and Jack Grimes. In terms of how we came up with the group, as Cameron said, it was based on actions and behaviours over the past 4.5 months. Input from their peers, the coaching group, some key administration staff. Primarily the decision was made by the coach, or the coaching group, recommended to Cameron and was endorsed at the board meeting on Wednesday. I acknowledge that the group is young. It has the potential to lead the Melbourne Football Club for a long time. We will work together, surround them with an experienced group which will, as Cameron said, include Neil Craig, Josh Marnie, Jade Rawlings, to bring out their leadership qualities. I have an opinion that the majority of players who make it to AFL level have leadership qualities. Their skills need to be developed. Their understanding of how to lead needs to be developed. Look, the empowerment, the style of their leadership is going to grow, and the empowerment we give them is going to reflect the age of them. Co-captains. When I first started 4 months ago, I was absolutely certain I just wanted one captain. So after 4 months, I've arrived that we need 2. I couldn't split them. Their teammates couldn't split them. Albeit grand old age of 20 and 22. Massive amount of 32 games, 37 games. No games. These guys are outstanding young men. Our aim, our challenge is to develop them into outstanding captains over time. I also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the contribution of Brad Green, Jared Rivers, Aaron Davey and Brent Maloney to the Melbourne Footy Club on-ground leadership over the past few years. I've met with each one of those players one-on-one yesterday, explained the composition of this season's leadership group. They all took it differently. They're all disappointed, which to me says they wanted to be a part of it. That's good. The decision was explained. I am extremely confident that those 4 players will support this group 100% of the time in the best way that they possibly can. That's it. Questions from the floor, if you have any.
Mark, what exactly was it that prompted the change of plan from one captain to 2?
I couldn't split them. I couldn't. I thought, well, I know both of them outstanding leadership qualities and couldn't be split by their peers, and similar with the coaches.
Do you expect them to support each other, and was that always part of the plan?
The whole group will support one another, me included. This is the player part of our leadership team.
Mark, it's a fairly big shake-up. When you look at the personnel that's coming in, the youth and the experience that's going out of the leadership group.
Yeah, it's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. We are, we're the oldest football club in the competition, and we've just announced that we now have at least one of our captains is the youngest captain in the history of the game. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
What do you expect from Jack and Jackson?
What do I expect from Jack and Jack? Well, they've become captains of the Melbourne Footy Club so far it's a cliche, Pete, but lead by example. I only have their actions and behaviours over the last 4.5 months to go by, and they've been terrific. I expect them to continue to act in that manner and to grow and develop their leadership skills over time. I've got no doubt that they'll do it really well.
Did their ages give you any pause at all?
No. Based on, I was pretty clear from the word go. Let's see what the player group have got. Let's have a look at their actions and behaviours. That's what it was about. Not a fan of the using birth certificates with leadership. It's about the way they're going to go about it.
And since you've arrived, have you been sort of determined to make a fresh start? And I suppose this, more than anything, heralds the start of a new approach, new era, that sort of thing.
Not necessarily. I'm just really determined to do what I think is the best thing for the Melbourne Footy Club. And in my eyes, this is the right decision for us right at this moment, so that's why it's been made.
Jack Trengo, the youngest skipper, what's it meant to you? You obviously feel that you're ready?
Yeah, obviously, it's a great opportunity being alongside this great young leadership group, and Grimes is my co-captain. It's a real privilege and honour to be able to take this opportunity and try and do something with it. And I've got full confidence in the whole group that they're going to be doing everything possible to get this club back to where it needs to be.
What do you think your main strengths are as a captain? What do you think it is that Mark and the rest of the guys have seen in you?
Yeah, I suppose it's one of those things that I don't even really know yet. It's still developing, and I'm trying to learn new things every day, and as well as every other boy who's here, and it'll develop over time. But I'm all about just trying to help out my teammates. And I was talking with Neil Craig last night actually, and we were talking about that. Care for your teammates, and that makes up such a big thing in leadership, in my opinion. And just really care for your teammates and try to develop their game, which will, as a result, will help our game. And I'll just be doing everything possible to improve every player on the list and doing whatever I can to do that.
Jack, if I can ask you, did you ever see yourself sitting down here, co-captain of Melbourne?
No. No, I mean, Neildy called me into his office yesterday, and I was expecting it just to be another general catch-up about just how things are going, and it was the first thing he said to me. He told me, and it absolutely blew me away. I definitely wasn't expecting to hear that, but I mean, it is, like Jack said, it's a massive honour. It's the oldest footy club in the game, and we're sitting here as co-captains, and it really is an honour, and we'll do everything we can to better the Melbourne Football Club in this role and help our teammates, as Jack said, as much as we can. And sure, we're young, and the media's going to have their opinions about our age and our experience, that sort of thing, but it's great to think that it doesn't matter in this group, because obviously by the blokes standing behind us as well, it's a pretty young group, and we're hopefully going to take this club places.
Did you seek it? Is it something that you wanted and set out to go and grab?
I guess I always wanted to be seen as a leader. I don't think being specifically captain is something that anyone really goes out and seeks, because obviously there's always a lot of good young leaders around you as well. But I really wanted to earn the respect of my teammates and be seen as a leader, and I just didn't know I was going to be to this degree quite yet.
Was it only really injuries held you back as far as games? How's the body at the moment going with this year?
Really good. Everything's gone to plan coming back from a foot injury last year, which is obviously pretty serious, but I've got in the exact amount of pre-season that we plan to get in, and I'm ready to go for the start of games, so I'm really looking forward to it.
And Mark, there's obviously no worry there from your perspective about Jack's fitness and how to hold up?
No, not at all. Exactly what Jack said. One of the other things that stood out for me over pre-season, and as you just heard, Jack Grimes coming back from a serious injury, the impact he was still able to have on the coaching group and also his peers to be voted at the top, with Jack Trengo spending a fair bit of time in the rehab group, again reinforces his leadership potential.
How hard was the discussion, say, with a great Marine as the heart and soul of the footy club?
Yeah, it was pretty hard. Yeah, well, the hardest thing, new coach, that's the hardest thing I've had to do so far. To sit down with a player who is nearly played 250 games. He's a captain of an AFL club. And I sat face to face in the office yesterday and told him that he wasn't going to be captain of the club. Harder for Brad to hear than me to deliver. That's part of the job. And I've been put here by the board and ultimately by the supporters to do what I think is the best thing for the Melbourne Footy Club. And right now, in my opinion, the best thing for the Melbourne Footy Club is to have this 8-member leadership group with these two, Jack and Jack, as co-captains.
Mark, can you clarify who had a say and who had a final say?
Play group, coaching group, key administrators. Final say was mine.
So everyone had input?
Yep.
Is there any more, I know it's sensitive, but why Brad wasn't a good fit for this group that you can tell us?
Emma, the way that I'd answer that was that after all those people had been given the opportunity to contribute, I sat down, had a look at everything they had to say, read everything, and again, my opinion says that these 8 players are the ones that we need in our leadership group.
Is it telling, Mark, that this massive generational change here amongst the playing group? You've gone back to your second, third, fourth year players. Does that tell us anything? I suppose it leads to accusations that there has been a leadership vacuum.
Well, I'm not making those accusations. If you want to make those, you can. Well, no problem. I think it tells me, and now I'm here telling our supporters, our members and our sponsors that we have an outstanding young group of leaders. That's what I'm saying.
Jack Grimes, you grew up obviously barracking for the Demons. Like, what does that mean to you to think that you were a little kid wanting to play for them one day now?
Yeah, it is pretty special. I probably dreamed about something like this as a little kid, and I mean, I first just dreamed to play for them, and now to be co-captain of the club it really is amazing. I'm just on the way here, spoke to my parents, and they're also Melbourne supporters, and yeah, they didn't know what to say. They were just overawed by it all, I think, and I mean, so am I. So it really is pretty special.
Jack, what type of captain do you think you'll be? Are you a vocal sort of a leader?
I'm definitely not the loudest bloke in the team, and I don't really plan to change that at all. I like to think that I'll talk when something needs to be said, and hopefully let most of my actions do the talking. But Jack Trengove spoke about care, and I think that's what we'll be all about, is care for our teammates and care for the club, and that's what we'll focus on going forward.
Similar for you, Jack?
Yeah, no, pretty much exactly the same. I'm not a really loud person and outspoken. I just go about my business and try to bring everyone along, and I think all the great past and present leaders around the AFL are those type of leaders that have the ability to raise the standard and make sure everyone in the group is, like, you're pulling them along with you, and that's something that as a group we're going to work on, really try and raise the bar and make sure every single player on the list is getting to that standard too.
Mark, the fact that you're both Jacks does make it easier or harder for you?
It makes it a fair bit harder. We'll get used to it.
Jack,
Sounds ridiculous, Pete. Come on.
I on you, what would be the response you expect from Brad Curry and you had a conversation?
I'll go. Like they said, we only told the group about an hour ago, and we were straight here from Casey, so we haven't had a chance to catch up with the boys that obviously were in last year and missed out, and especially Brad himself. But that'll be one of the first things we do, and as Mark said, it'll be pretty challenging to look someone like that in the face who in the past we've looked up to, but I'll still be looking up to those guys as leaders, and I think that's why they were picked in the leadership group and Brad as skipper, because they're such quality people, and I know they won't change at all. They'll keep supporting us this whole way through, and they won't change their influence on the group at all. So they're obviously disappointed. I'm sure I would have been disappointed if I missed out as well, but they'll take it on the chin and move on and keep trying to improve and continue to be great leaders of the club.
JT, the reaction of your family and friends and all the phone calls that you made the first call?
Yeah, I rang Mum just then and she didn't pick up, so showing how much she cared. But I eventually got on to her, and they were all pretty excited, and they didn't really believe it at the time either, so it's all come as a bit of a shock. But yeah, that was about 15 minutes ago, so it's probably still hasn't even sunk in for me yet, so it's probably just starting to sink in for them now. But yeah, I think Mum said she was very proud, so. Yeah.
And Mark, why, how many is it? 8 in the leadership group? How did you write that number?
Again, after everyone's input, there was a clear 8 that were above, so that decision was made for me.
It's a big tick for Mitch Clark as well. He's only been here a couple of months.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. We've been here same amount of time, and without, I suppose, the other boys can answer that as well. The impact Mitch has had on the group, the way that he goes about his training and his preparation is first class. And yeah, it is a great big tick for him from his peers.